Every year I know we gonna go hard. We been that team ever since Bart started. All my cheese heads go pack go. Ain't showing no mercy, cutting no slack, no. I ain't a bad sport and I'll even wish you good luck. Only thing I will.
All right, with us now, we have an incredibly special guest, Green Bay Packers defensive back, Kiondre Thomas. Kiondre, welcome to Lombardi's Legends podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And we always got to ask our new guests one question right off the bat. Kiondre, how does it feel to be a Green Bay Packer?
It's amazing, man. It's a blessing, and just this whole journey is surreal. Just living out my dreams, playing a child's game, doing something that I love. It's crazy, and especially for an organization such as Green Bay, like with the winning tradition that they got, it's just truly a blessing.
Yeah, and Kiondre, we're going to get into some of your background and path to the NFL, but just building off of that, was there anything particular about Green Bay that attracted you to signing there? Because certainly you had a nice first season with the Chargers last year, elevated game day elevation for 4 games, were a big part of the special teams unit in those contests. So was there something particular about Green Bay, or why Green Bay at the end of the day as the place you decided to sign?
I mean, I think just the winning tradition kind of just speaks for itself. And just, like Lambeau Field, I just think it's the aura of the Packer name, Green Bay. Like, we're going to win. You can tell like they win stuff in Green Bay. Like, that's they're going to go to the playoffs every year. That they're going to win 10 plus games every year. Like, I don't know. That's just the aura that they have. That's very intriguing for players, I feel like.
So you mentioned Lambeau Field. Doing a little research, I remember when we signed you to a futures deal here. You signed in January, right? So have you been to Lambeau Field yet? Have you been to Green Bay? How did that all work out? What was the process to come in? If I recall, that you had a workout with the team, and then shortly thereafter, you inked a contract. So have you been to Green Bay yet?
Yeah, they had flew me out to Green Bay for the workout. I worked out for them. And they showed us around the facilities, took us out to the field and whatnot. So, I got to experience it for a little bit. But after the workout and stuff, I signed pretty much, I want to say a couple hours after that, or the next morning. I don't know. I can't really recall correctly. But, yeah, they took us on a little tour of the city.
Yeah,
so a lot of things.
Yeah, follow up on that then is, so did you think a signing was coming based on your workout? Were you kind of crossing your fingers? What was kind of going through your mind? If it all happened pretty quickly like that, that's a pretty big deal, kind of a life-changing experience, I imagine.
Yeah, I just did the best that I could. They put me out there, did my little 40 little drills, and I hope for the best, but afterwards I feel like I did a really good job. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I know I did good during my workout. So, and hey, I got signed, so I guess I did really good.
Yeah, and Kiondre, I don't know if the team made you aware of this, or maybe if your agent talked to you about Green Bay's history, particularly with defensive backs, with guys that are kind of on the path that you're on right now, that have come into Green Bay, and somehow it's just that magic spot where they've been able to latch on and really actually take off in their career. So was that, a factor at all? Or are you familiar with some of the background of the guys in the recent and even, further back past that have kind of taken a similar path to what you're on right now?
See, I watched Green Bay a lot growing up, but I never really got into the details of guys that came in draft. Everybody knows the high profile guys, the first round draft picks and things like that. But I never really looked into to see who was undrafted and who made a name for themselves in Green Bay. Nah, because growing up I really wasn't a Green Bay fan, honestly. But I don't know. I watched them on TV and things like that. But I feel yeah, I don't know. Nah, I ain't really looking at that.
Do you see opportunity for yourself on this roster? Because we Wags and I were just talking right actually before you jumped on, before we went live and started recording, and we were talking about that the Packers, obviously Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes, Rasul Douglas, top of the board, but really there seems to be a lot of opportunity on this roster for you to make a difference and really stick with this team. So is that something that you're mindful of, or are you just kind of going out there right now, having fun and, letting the chips fall how they're going to fall?
I mean, with guys like that, veterans that are established, that have made a name for themselves, I think for a guy like me, it's good to be around those guys and eventually get to learn them and get to learn things from them, because that'll help me as a player. And I feel like whenever you get signed to any team, like you're brought in for a reason, like you can help contribute in some type of way. So, I just feel like if I get the opportunity, I got to make the most of it. You know what I'm saying? That all depends on me. And then
Yeah.
the chips fall where they may after that.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to start interrupting. I was just going to ask you, Kiondre, what do you think is the path to making the 53-man roster for yourself? I mean, you've gone through a year. You got a year under your belt. I mean, I saw that after signing with the Browns, started in preseason, unfortunately got hurt, but had 5 tackles in that game. And I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, all right, here we go. This is the chance to latch on, and then you get hurt. So, that's just the unfortunate part of life in the NFL. But at the same time, now that you've gotten some of that experience under your belt and spending basically the rest of the season with the Chargers, what is your plan for, trying to attack and really try to stand out, but also be doing what you need to do to get the coaches respect and attention and make this roster at the end of the day?
I just feel like for somebody like me to make the roster, I feel like versatility is something that'll play into my favor. Just being able to play multiple positions, whether that's corner, nickel, and or safety, and being able to do everything on special teams, like learn how to long snap or something, you know what I'm saying? Just any way that I can come help and contribute. Versatility will bring you a long way. And also just like body maintenance, because when I was with the Browns, I feel like I was having a heck of a camp and, things were kind of falling into my favor. But, injuries are a part of the game and it was unfortunate, but it let me know that I need to take my body maintenance more serious. So getting into the training room, doing what I need to do, and also like in my extracurricular, like just go and get body work done while I'm not doing anything and just stay
Yeah,
on a consistent routine.
for sure. And if you one more follow up to that, if I may, have you had any contact with Coach Gray or anyone else on the coaching staff at this point? And if so, based on your workout and maybe some tape that they have on you, have they given you any indication of what they want to see you work on as you progress through the off season, as get ready for OTAs and camp here later this summer?
I reached out, basically like we've introduced each other, but when it's in the off season, you work with football players so long, I would rather them just get their little time off and then like we'll get into all that as soon as we get there.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned your versatility, something that I was really curious about. Where's your comfort level? I mean, are you most comfortable in the slot? Do you like to play more on the outside? If you could have it your way, what have you kind of played the most? And, just kind of curious about that, because there's always talk of the versatility factor in Green Bay. The Packers love guys like yourself that can kind of just ball. You're a football player at the end of the day. So, where are you most comfortable playing on the defense?
So like in college, I played on the outside the whole time, but since I've been in the NFL, I've kind of just been like rotating between there and the slot. And since I've been playing in the slot in the NFL, I kind of like that more. I feel like you get to roam more freely around. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's more action. Like you get in on the action more, like in the run game. Pat. Like I don't know. I feel like you're kind of like a linebacker, kind of somewhat, but you can cover. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, you play. Listen, I watched some of your highlights, and it's pretty clear you like playing against the line of scrimmage a little bit because it seems like you like to tackle. I mean, am I wrong? But I watched you on a number of plays, running backs kind of widening out, and you were able to just kind of chase them down, run them down. So, do you like the physical aspect of the game as much as the coverage aspect of football?
Yeah, you got to. You have to. It's a barbaric sport. So if you're not coming up and hitting anything, like it's like, why are you out there?
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't
One of my
agree.
new favorite Packers, right there, with a comment like that. I like it.
Absolutely. And I think it's one of those things, especially with the rules the way they are now. Do you think about that too much? I mean, I know that the rules in college are almost more strict than the NFL, as crazy as that sounds, with hitting guys and kind of where you can make contact. Is that something that it has been ingrained in you coming up now for long enough that it's not even really a factor, or did you just go out there and play? And if unfortunately, with the speed of the game, things happen and you draw a flag, it just sort of is what it is? Or is it pretty much expected that you're making those adjustments as those plays unfold?
As my time as a professional, I think it's kind of like on you pretty much know the rules, but I feel like when you're out there playing, like you don't really think about like how should I hit them? Like you kind of just do it. But like I don't know, I've been playing football long enough, like you know how to hit people within the rules of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For sure. So listen, kind of curious then. Let's get into, if you don't mind, us asking a little bit of journey to the NFL and maybe who Kiondre is outside of football. Saw that you last spring got a key to the city in your home city, Fort Smith. For folks, I have to be honest with you, I'm not familiar with Fort Smith. I've never been to Arkansas before. Not a huge city, but not like a tiny small town USA. So
Yeah.
how did that all work out? Like, are you now the most famous person from Fort Smith, Arkansas, or like I'm just curious the story there and how that unfolded with getting the key to the city.
So I was just coming back home training like right before or no, it was like after the draft or whatever. And I was laying down. I think I had just woke up before I went to go train. And I got a random phone call and it was from the mayor's assistant. And he had told me the good news or whatever. But I actually wasn't the first to get a key to the city. So, like how Fort Smith is not relatively too big or relatively too small, but we haven't had a lot of athletes come out of here. Well, just in the past 2 years, we had a guy drafted to the NBA. Last year, we had another one of my high school teammates got drafted to the Steelers. And then we got a guy that's entering the NBA draft this year. So like we've had like a nice number of athletes making it to the professional ranks for a city that's not that big. You know what I'm saying? I think it's like a little bit under 90,000 people. So like 4 kids in like 2 years, kind of a lot. So
So, like,
I guess they just wanted to like recognize us. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, so do you just get in? What does this key just you get into the libraries now and just can kind of just roam the city, or is it hanging on your wall? What's that look
Nah,
like?
it's a plaque. It's hanging up on my wall. I mean, I guess this is kind of like an award of sort.
Yeah.
For
So
sure. So
what's the
then,
fanfare behind that? I'm sorry, I got to ask more about the key to the city. See, we do the hard hitting journalism here on Lombardi's Legends podcast. But Kiondre, do they do like a parade? What's there? Or do they just present it to you? How does this come about?
So it was kind of like a ceremony, and like all friends and family pulled up because me and my high school teammate, we had all declared in the same year, so we had both had ours on the same day. And he had just asked us where we wanted to do it, and I wanted to do it at the Boys and Girls Club that I grew up at. So basically, I did that, and friends and family came, and yeah, like the news and stuff came, and they just presented it to me in front of friends and family.
for sure. So then, Keandre, just going back a little bit further, was it always football for you, or did you have other sports or interests that you were interested in before football became your main thing, or kind of, what was that? profile for you as you kind of were making your way through school, middle school, high school, etc.?
So growing up, the only sports I played I played football, basketball, and I ran track. And I pretty much loved football and basketball pretty much equally, and track. I feel like I did that just to, help me in football, but I feel like some point in high school, I was kind of just like, I'm 6 feet and it's hard to go Division 1 in basketball when you're 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? There's point guards out here 6'6" nowadays. So I put all my eggs in a football basket, and I think that it's gonna work out for me, or it's been working out so far.
I love it. So, gotta ask, what kind of music? What are you listening to when you're working out? When you're driving around? Anything in particular that you're into these days?
Drake. I feel like everybody loves Drake.
Yeah.
Great vibes. Highly recommended.
Do you listen to that before games too? You listening to Drake, or do you have anything special, before you throw the pads on?
Before games, I gotta listen to NBA YoungBoy because it just gets you in the mindset. But I don't know. I kind of just got a whole little routine. I'll just throw on some YoungBoy and then just get my body right before games and whatnot. Stretch, do all that activation.
Yeah, what's that look like preparation wise before you go get on the field there? Is it a long routine for you? We've talked to a number of guys, right? And some guys have a very strict routine. Some guys kind of just get after it. So kind of curious, how long before the game do you try to get to the stadium? What's that routine look like for you?
I'll probably get to the stadium like 2 hours early, and just the whole time I'm just listening to music, just prepping my body. Like, I'm making sure that I can last through the whole game. Like, I don't want to get hurt at all. So I'm just doing body prep the whole time, getting ready to run around for a couple hours.
Kiondre, listen, I have to ask, as long as we're talking about practice and preparation, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Aaron Rodgers obviously does not throw very many interceptions in games, but preseason, in camp, he's notorious for throwing that football around. He wants to test, see what throws he can get away with, kind of getting in sync with his new receivers. So I'm just going to tell you, when you have the opportunity to pick off Aaron in camp this year and you're taking it back to the house, is there anything that you are thinking about as you fall asleep at night for how that's going to unfold, and anything you might say to Aaron as you hand him the ball as you run back to the huddle?
I'm probably not going to hand him that ball back. I'll probably ask him to sign it or something. I don't know.
That's going up next to the key to the city, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that where that goes? Yeah.
Yeah. Not every day you can just pick off Aaron Rodgers.
Have you played ball in the cold at all? I know that, from Arkansas, we're in Cleveland, but then ended up playing for the Chargers. So do you have much experience playing in cold weather?
Yeah, so I went to the University of Minnesota my first 3 years, right, and then grad transferred to Kansas State. So I was up in Minneapolis throughout college and whatnot. And I know Green Bay is cold, but I don't think it got anything on Minneapolis.
No, it doesn't. So I think you'll probably be just fine there for sure. Just kind of curious too. I mean, I'm always just interested in the mental aspect of the game. What can you walk us through what an average day is like as you're on the practice squad most of the season last year? As we said earlier, you got elevated for 4 games. What is that like mentally? I mean, are you fine just because you're going out there and preparing and practicing every day, or does it become a little bit of a grind over the course of the season as you're trying to, get your opportunity and at the same time trying to stay patient, knowing that, there's things that are a little bit out of your control with that as well?
I mean, I feel like it's a little bit of a grind, but then again, you're doing what you love. So like, it doesn't really feel like work. You know what I'm saying? But then again, I think mentally, like, especially as a rookie, like, I think how long the season is kind of like takes a toll on rookies. Like, but especially just like being on the practice squad, because, anything can happen and you can get called up a couple hours for the game, so it's like, you got to stay locked in, not knowing even if you're going to play that week. But if your number's called, you got to know what you're doing, just like you're a starter. So that's kind of like the hard part, is just staying locked in throughout the season. But if you love football, I'm pretty sure you can do it. You can do it.
Listen, I want to be mindful of your time, but I've got one more quick question. We always acknowledge that, you're a phenomenal football player, but you're much more than that. You're a person, right? First and foremost. Outside of football, how do you spend your time? What do you like to do?
So while I'm here in Arkansas, so basically how it goes is in the off season, like I went into straight dad mode as soon as the season was over with. Like I was just watching after my daughter. We'll probably like take her out to the park or do other little things. And then, I'll train. And then I'm a huge Madden guy, huge Madden and Call of Duty. I'm on Madden. Anybody want to play, we can get that going. Call of Duty, I'll be on Warzone. I don't know. I'm like so in that. But and then after that, I'm just chilling with, friends and family pretty much the most part. It's whatever they want to do for real. Like we'll go out on the lake boats, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just chilling with friends and family, whatever they trying to do today. We'll play basketball, do something, I don't know, something recreational.
Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation guy,
Oh
1,000%.
man, that's what I'm talking about. All right, I'm gonna have to play you at some point here down the road if that's the case.
Yeah, if you learn FIFA, he might. That might be the one that he's going to try to.
No,
beat you in.
I'm terrible at FIFA. I suck at.
Good, let's play. Perfect.
I barely know the rules in soccer. Like I get offsides penalties, and I don't know what that even is.
So, Kiondre, since you mentioned basketball before, it sounds like you were a pretty good player, but felt like maybe size was steering you towards football. Who's a comp? Like if you were a basketball player right now, who do people compare you to, and as far as your game for basketball?
J.R. Smith.
All right, that's our guy. We love JR.
Younger J.R. Smith, because I'm dunking on people for sure.
What's your golf game like? Can you golf like JR too?
Okay, I just recently got into golfing, so I'm still learning. Like, I can hit it like 600 yards out there, but there's no accuracy. I'm just hitting that thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So listen, Kiondre, really appreciate you joining us. We always really, really like to get you guys on and let some of the fans out there, especially since you're new to the team, get an idea of who you are, what you're about, and a little bit of an introduction to Green Bay. So thanks so much for joining us here, and would love to have you on after you make the team here in the fall.
I appreciate you guys for having me, man. It was fun.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
We always ask one thing as we sign off. Can you give us a Go Pack Go?
You want me to yell it or chant it?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Give us a Go Pack Go.
All right. Go Pack Go.
Yeah. Packers defensive back Kiondre Thomas, thank you so much for joining the podcast. You have a great night, man.
All right, you too.
Yep. Take care.
Take care.
All right.
All right.
Sweet. That was fun.
Let's let's record. Our DraftKings. Did you see that we're not getting paid for video anymore?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. DraftKings is no longer paying us for video.
Those fuckers.
Yeah, I know, right? After all the effort.
Yeah. Put so much effort in. Like they can't afford it. Come on, DraftKings.
So anyway, they also want us to transfer to Megaphone, which is fine, I guess.
Fine,
but then we got to figure out our website.
It's a whole new thing.
Yeah. It won't change anything for recording.
For this, right?
Yeah. I'm pulling up the script. I don't know if they put a new one out yet or not.
That's fine.
So they don't have a new script. The promo is still for college basketball, but let's just talk about NBA.
Yeah, let's just talk about NBA. It's fine.
It's not our fault.
Yeah, it's not our fault at all.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So, Dane, let's take a moment here and take a break to talk about our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL. And Dane, it's transferred into basketball season.
Yes, sir.
And, you've been keeping us up to date on you and your wife Andrea's college basketball bets, particularly in March Madness. So any good daily fantasy picks from the championship game last night you want to share?
Nope. Nothing good, Wags. Didn't go the way we thought it was going to go. I'm not going to lie, folks. Went to bed a little early. Woke up and was a little surprised to see that Kansas took care of business in the national championship game. But that's okay because DraftKings Sportsbook, we use this promo code TPPN, and we're still betting on NBA, Wags. And the Milwaukee Bucks, fortunately, Packers fans are pretty darn good at basketball. So they have been a lot of fun to root for without the bets. But with DraftKings Sportsbook, again, using that promo code TPPN, it just enhances the game even that much more for the casual fan or even for the hardcore fan. So Wags is going to give you the details, but I'll tell you what, folks, it's so fun. Thank you again, DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, promo code TPPN. Go out there, sign up for the app, have a lot of fun, place some bets.
So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Bet $5 on any hoops team to win. Get $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code TPPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 plus restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right. So Dane, that was a lot of fun to have Kiondre on. And I'll tell you what, it's always one of those things where I know that a lot of Packer fans, particularly casual fans, most likely aren't going to be familiar with Kiondre's story. But at the same time, look how many guys we've had on over the last few years, and we've been fortunate to talk to them before they had a huge offseason or camp and ended up either making the 53 right out of camp or being a big part of the practice squad and getting elevated at some point over the season. So you have to respect the talent level that all of these guys have. If they're part of an NFL roster. And I don't think Kiondre Thomas is any different. I really do think that there is a path. There's always a path, but particularly right now as the roster stand, we're talking before the draft, of course, there's definitely a path. And he mentioned how versatile he is, playing corner, playing safety, big part of special teams. So he seems to have a really solid understanding, particularly after getting a season under his belt, for the path that he needs to try to take in order to stick on this roster.
Well, Wags, I mean, I'm going to use the comp because he's an old friend of our podcast who's no longer on the team, Shandon Sullivan. Similar path. A guy who was in the league one season, then signs with the team, has to fight through camp and then earn a roster spot. I'll tell you what, same kind of vibe, right? Same kind of guy where has a lot of flexibility and availability, is able to do a lot of different things on defense, is able to cover kick, is able to cover punt, as you mentioned. And that's what I think Kiondre really brings to this team. And Wags, I'll tell you what, this cornerback room right now, the top three guys are absolute locks to make the team, right? Jair Alexander, Stokes, Rasul Douglas. After that, all bets are off. We used a mid-round pick on Shamar last season, and I really like him. I think he's going to make this team. But, Wags, we're talking about KB Ento. We're talking about assigning Nixon from the Raiders, maybe a draft pick here or there. But, Wags, I really don't think the team is going to be investing early in the cornerback position. So really 4 through 6 or so on the active roster. The Packers kept 6 last season, and then a couple practice squad spots. I'll tell you what, I think that he's right in the mix to earn a roster spot with a good camp. And he was able to come in, have a workout, impress the team enough to bring him in. Once you're in the door and you're on the roster, Wags, all bets are off. If you show in camp there's a good chance you're making this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a competition for those last couple of spots. And even getting on a practice squad is, everyone wants to make the 53-man roster. I get it. But with the way the rules are now, it's going to be one of those things where that's not the worst place to be either. It's an NFL job, and there's a pretty decent shot of getting elevated on game day a few times over the course of the season. Or if there's a rash of injuries, heck, you might be on the roster for a good chunk of the season. So good way to continue to develop and get an opportunity. We don't have to look any further also than Rasul Douglas as a guy that can go from practice squad to from rags to riches, literally. What's really funny? I didn't even think about it when he said it, but when you make the comparison to Chandon Sullivan, just in terms of the path, Chandon Sullivan's favorite comp basketball player is also J.R. Smith. So it's kind of crazy to me. That's a total coincidence. But two guys that are both love J.R. Smith. So what do you think about that, Dane? I mean, that has to say a little bit about his swagger on the football field as well.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this was the young man that you could tell loves the game of football. And that's such a key thing. There's so many guys in this league that have talent, but maybe don't have the passion all the way. You've got to earn your right in this league. And I just feel like Kiondre has that humbleness, but he kind of has a quiet positivity about himself. He carries himself well. And, he seemed very comfortable in who he was. And that I think, showed in the interview, but also is going to show on the field. And heck, man, we're going to be rooting like crazy for this young man to make the roster.
For sure. So, Dane, any other thoughts before we sign off for the evening?
No. Listen, I enjoy this interview. It's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with him. So, hope you enjoy it.
Absolutely. So say it with us. As always, be legendary and go Pack, go.
Every year I know we gonna go hard. We been that team ever since Bart started. All my cheese heads go Pack go. Ain't showing no mercy, cutting no slack, no. I ain't a bad sport and I'll even wish you good luck. Only thing I will